This is going to be a very quick video just to explain how to create a keychain. So here's my finished product. I'm just going to start in a new part studio step by step. So I'm going to start a sketch and choose the top plane. Then right click and view normal to that sketch plane. Click that P key to hide the planes. And I'm going to start with a rectangle from the center. This will just kind of anchor my whole drawing. So I'm drawing in millimeters, and my recommendation for this is that the largest measurement be 60 millimeters. I'm just going to make the short side 30. All right, and then we're going to use this tool, the fillet tool, to round the corners. So to use this tool, you just click on two connecting lines that form a corner, and then you define the radius. So a radius of 5 millimeters is good. I'm going to go ahead and keep that. Let's see if we can do multiple corners at a time. Nope. Okay, let's just do that. Click outside to accept that, and then enter to accept 5 millimeters. Go ahead and do the other corners. Here's our basic shape. And then to get the offset, I'm going to use the offset tool. I'm going to click on a line and choose which direction I want it to go inside. So I'm going to click on the arrow to reverse it. And I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm just going to grab that. At this point, I'm just eyeballing it to see what I like. And then I'm going to select some more lines. You can always go in and change the measurement if I want it to be closer or farther away. So I'm just clicking on all the lines to add them to the offset. Press enter. And then my offset is a 3.2 millimeter. I'm just going to make that an even 3. So there's my offset. Now I'm ready to go ahead and make this a part by extruding the solids. So I like to orbit so I can see it, and click that check mark to accept the sketch. And you want to be viewing it not straight on from the top, but at some sort of angle so you can see the depth of your extrusion. Then we're going to click on extrude. I'm going to start with the outer edge. As soon as you click on it, you can see it start to extrude, and then that is way too thick. So you can again grab the arrow, kind of eyeball it and see what measurement looks good to you. I'm going to choose, let's say, 6 millimeters. Type in 6. And then accept that, click the check mark. And then it thinks I'm done with the sketch, but I really need to reference something else. And actually, before I do this, I'm going to draw one more thing. So I'm going to show my sketch. And let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to extrude that part. Extrude the inside. And I want to make sure I'm adding to the existing part. And it already has part 1 as the merge scope. So it's going to be adding to part number 1, which is the outer edge. And then I just want to determine the thickness to be a little bit less than 6, so I'll do 4. And then click the check mark. So now I have that part. What I forgot to do in the sketch was to put a hole in it so we could attach a key ring. So for this, I'm going to get back into my sketch, view normal to the sketch plane, and I'm going to just draw a construction line so I can get the middle. I want my hole in the middle here, so I'm just going to draw a line from one side to the other, and that's going to give me a midpoint. So I think I might need to place that point first. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the point tool and place it right at the midpoint of the line there. now that I have a place to put my circle, I'm going to go ahead and grab that circle tool and then click on that point that I just placed. And I want something that's 5 millimeters in diameter, so I just placed it. Now I'll dimension this. 5 millimeters. And now you could see that if I click the check mark, my part should have a hole in it. So it automatically extruded without that region in it. So here's my just very basic keychain. So the next part of this would be adding some sort of decoration on the surface. Now you can freehand draw with the line tools. So let's go ahead and start a sketch. I wanted to choose the surface of the extrusion as my drawing plane, so everything will show up right there. And what I did with my project is I cheated a little bit. I grabbed an image from the internet, and it's getting close to football season, so I wanted to do something Colts related. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. There's a button up here for inserting, and it defaults to a CAD drawing file. If you click the arrow next to that, you can insert an image. Now I already uploaded mine to this project, but if you want to import a fresh image that you've downloaded, you just click on import, find your image in the list here. Then once you import it, it'll show up in the list. Then you can select it. And drawing this is just like drawing a rectangle. You're just creating a window for that drawing to appear. So then the next thing is to scale it, like you're drawing out how large do you want this thing to be. Just eyeballing it there. And then I wanted to change the orientation of this. So there's a couple things that I could do. I want to lock it in place. So what I could do is I'm going to just draw a construction line. Grab if I can draw it. It's not going to give me a midpoint. There it is. Oh, it's very close to the midpoint and vertical of the origin, so I had to be careful there for a second. I'm going to draw a straight line across the other midpoint. That means I have a connection point here. If I place a midpoint along this line, that's the very center of my image. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a constraint that is coincident. So I want this and this to be connected. All right, now it isn't in the correct orientation, so I want to rotate this image. So I'm going to use this transform tool. And since this is an object, if I click on one line, the whole thing will be selected. And I want to rotate, but I don't want to rotate from this corner, which is where I would be rotating it. So I've created a center point for a reason. I'm going to move this tool by grabbing it right where those two lines intersect. There's a little circle there. You can grab the tool and place it in the center now. I can rotate from the center point, and I want to do a 90-degree rotation. Now I click the check mark to accept the change. Now I'm ready to trace. I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm not going to take as much time, so you get the idea. So you want to plan out how you're going to draw this symmetrically. Let me go ahead and view normal to sketch plane, so this is a little easier. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can delete this. Yeah. What I want is a center line down the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and do another construction line. Find the midpoint and down here to the midpoint. That way I can draw a half, and then mirror it on the other side. It's going to cut my work down and make sure that everything looks symmetrical. So I'm going to begin by attaching my spline to the base here, to that vertical line, and then just trace around, just making some clicks. And again, I'm just going really quickly here. You get the idea. And close my shape here. Actually, it's not closed, it's still open. So let me escape out of the tool to accept that spline. And then I could grab my adjustment points here, adjust them closer to the image. And now I'm ready to mirror it on the other side. So I'm going to click on the mirror tool, select that mirror line, which is my construction line. And then I'm going to select, oh, it didn't accept that. There we go. I'm going to mirror this on the other side. I'm done mirroring, so I'm going to escape out of the tool. And I want these to be tangent to each other. See, there's a little bit of a pointiness there. So I'm going to use the constraint for tangent and make this line and this line tangent. Now when I zoom in, oh, it only did it up here. Let's see if it does it down here now. Nope. What I could do is grab these handles, escape out of that, and just kind of make it, I'm going to try to force it. Oh. Should have given a little bit more room at the bottom there. I can grab this point, pull it up. Oh, now I feel like I'm going to mess it all up. So I'm just going to put it right there and leave it alone. All right, now I'm going to hide the sketch. I should have made it a separate sketch. So I have my lines on my actual image, which can make it a little bit confusing when you go to select some stuff, but this should work. So let's go ahead and accept the sketch. Now what I want to do is use that to subtract from my current part. So I'm going to choose Extrude. And then I want to choose this region in my sketch. And I want to use this to remove material. Right now it says add. So it would add, if you wanted it to be extruded and be a bump out, you could do something like that. But I want mine to go inside, like kind of like inscribed. So I'm going to reverse the direction. And that would, if I want it to be like removing material, that needs to be set to remove for it to be able to do this. So change that to remove, and now it's going to cause an indentation. And then I can choose how deep I want that to be. Let's just say 2, and then click the check mark. So here's the basic, very quick drawing. And so I've modeled this part. In my example here, I have some, that's the image, here we go, Part Studio 1. So I made these little circles and indented them even farther, and then I added some text. So to add text is pretty easy. If you want to challenge yourself, you could just draw your own text, but this is the quick and easy way. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch for my text and place it on that same surface. And then there's a tool for creating text. And then I'm supposed to draw a rectangle where I want my text to go. And let's put in quotes. Click the check mark. And again, we need to change the size and the orientation. So first I'll rotate it. use that transform tool, select my text. Any line will do. So it attached itself right there. I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag it down here. I have to grab one of the corners if you want to move it. And I'm going to go ahead and dimension this long side to fit inside my keychain. I think something like 20 will do. All right, that's pretty close. If you wanted to manipulate it even more, you could use a transform. So you can select it and or just do transform. And this will give you arrows to adjust it up, down, left, right. So I want to nudge it down a little bit. You could do that. And if I wanted to place it directly in the center between here, I could create a construction line and then attach the midpoint of the text here, attach it to that midpoint. But I'm just eyeballing it right now for time's sake. So let's say you have your text exactly where you want it. Click that check mark. And this would be used just like any other sketch. You can select sketch 3 in my circumstance here to extrude it either upward or inward. So again, I'm going to use it to remove, and it automatically flips direction. And let's do 1 millimeter this time. Click the check mark. So there's a very quick and easy keychain with a little design on it. And the finishing touches, after you've created your solid, you can round the edges using the fillet tool. Choose an edge. You don't have to choose all the edges. It will automatically pick a chain of edges. And then your radius is what you would choose next. And make sure you choose a radius that's possible. So mine is 6 millimeters from top to bottom. So it can't be any more than 6. Actually, it depends on what this length is here too. So if you get a red indicator that's not possible, if it gives you something that says it's not going to work, reduce the radius. So I'm going to use this radius of 2. I'm also going to apply it on the bottom and on the inside here if it'll work. Nope, that's not going to work. So I'm going to remove that edge. Click the check mark. Then if I wanted to do the inside, I could create a different fillet for the inside. Reduce the radius to something like 1. And then let's go ahead and do this circle as well, just to make it a little bit rounded. You can do the top and the bottom. Click the check mark. So there it is, very basic but very nicely finished keychain. So your goal is to use and practice all the drawing tools that we've used so far, so all your sketching tools, and then we're going to also use the extrude in multiple ways to extrude different depths and also to add or remove to a part. That's the goal of this assignment. So I hope you have fun with it. Be creative, design something. Eventually we will 3D print these, so it'll be nice to have. That is it.